federal trial that could reshape social media is underway in Northern California. A handful of states are suing Meta, accusing the company behind Facebook and Instagram of intentionally designing a product that's addictive to children. Meta denies the allegations.
Well, joining us now to break down the case is attorney Rachel Fezay. Rachel, thank you so much for being with us. Yeah, this is just the latest in a string of lawsuits, of course, for Meta, and so far they haven't done so well with those. So let's talk about this one. They're charged with violating federal privacy laws and state consumer protection laws. So why those charges, and what do these states need to do to prove those?
These states are contending that basically Meta and Facebook, through Instagram and Facebook, held, harvested, and hid information from the public so that they addicted children through their technology. They held them with endless scrolling. They harvested their data in violation of federal law, and then they hid all of these practices from the public. And really, the state violations have to do with the deceptive and unfair practices that Meta knowingly was pushing harmful technology onto children and not telling the public about it.
Well, so Meta's denying the allegations, but we've seen in other lawsuits where this has not gone in the social media company's favor at all. What is the defense here, and how do you think it's different from some of the other cases?
Their defense is really going to be the same, that they intentionally were not doing this, that they had parental controls on these various technologies, that they were not hiding deceptive practices from the public, that the parents, they're really going to blame parents here, could have been more involved. They can stop their children. It's not Meta's job to police the social media use of children. So they are really going to try to dial back and focus on what they did do, that they had these age entries that kids could use. Now they're going to have a hard time, which they have had in the past with these arguments, because there is evidence, there is emails, there are reports that show how the children were getting around the various protections, and that Meta knew what they were doing and did it anyway. But that's really what their defense is going to be. A lot of finger pointing at parents.
Absolutely. And a lot of these stories compare these cases to cases against Big Tobacco back in the day. What similarities do you see there, and what different? Because as you mentioned, people still have a choice to use the app, to put their children on the app. But then if it's proven that these companies know it's addictive, then it seems to fall on the company. Do you see the similarities there?
I really do see the similarities. Once Big Tobacco had a reckoning through trials, the smoking cut in half in this country. So once there are true protections, which is really what the state's attorneys general are doing, is they're trying not only to get them for money, but to change the way the industry works, to change the true protections. That's the real goal of this. Yes, there are massive amounts of money at stake, but the true end game here is that Meta would have to work differently to operate its business in these states.
Well, that's what's so different, right? Like, you look at a country like Australia that went in and put in protections for children and will not allow social media for users under the age of 16. They came together as a country. We have several states here, where we have state laws, we have federal laws, and all those types of things. The states demanding the billions of dollars in damages and wanting these changes. But how do we, we've seen this play out in other issues in this country. How do we get everybody to make changes, and what do those changes actually look like, with what's happening here in court?
Well, there are 4 states here in court, but it's a 29-state coalition as to these cases. So that's a vast majority, and we already have New Mexico that won against Meta and got some protections instituted in New Mexico. So now we are just getting a majority, and once you have a majority, I think it actually becomes harder on the technology companies to start changing based on the state. So it is a large coalition here. And I think that the fact that they've banded together, they all have similar consumer protection laws, is going to truly make an impact.
Absolutely. And this is a federal trial. We should also point out this is among thousands, though, of lawsuits against Meta and similar social media companies. So, Rachel, we appreciate your insight this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to see you.